So, what's up? Welcome to PUTINWORKTV. We've enjoyed watching your journey and your growth as an artist slash creator in the New England scene, and really want to hear more about your story. Our focus here really is just allowing our guests to tell their stories front and center without judgment or opinion. So let's dive straight the fuck in. How did it all begin? You know, every hero has his origin story. Batman lost his parents. Robin lost his parents due to some acrobatic shit. Now he's, you know what I mean?
Superman didn't have his parents.
Superman didn't have his parents yet. That nigga's he's a god.
And shit, like,
you know what I mean? So origin story.
Yeah. So shit. Our musical journey starts when I was 3 years old. I'll be playing on like the pots and pans and shit. My mom's crib, my dad's crib. And my mom brought me my first drum set. So I was probably about like 4. And then when I graduated like my kindergarten class, I got to play the drums in front of the whole entire class. So from there, my mom ended up marrying a pastor. So I used to play in church. So I was playing in church since the age of 5, 6 years old. Playing the drums in there. That was my whole life. You know, I was a church kid. My mom was the first lady of the church, obviously. So just my musical journey from that standpoint was in church. You know, at the same time, my dad was listening to a lot of rap, a lot of Biggie, Snoop, a lot of Prince, just a lot of like different kind of music. And he was also playing the keyboard and he used to write poetry. So I got like the best of both worlds. Was learning how to do instruments and then also learning kind of like how to be creative and like writing songs and stuff like that. So I kind of got the best of both worlds when it came to that. Fast forward to middle school. You know, this was at the era of like Drumline with Nick Cannon before he had all his babies and shit. Before he had all them damn kids. You know, I looked up to him at a certain point just because of the Drumline was just all in my head. So when I went to middle school, I was in the drumline at school. So I would play the snare drum and shit like that. And my band teacher hit me to some school named Boston Arts Academy. So from there, I went to high school at Boston Arts, studied music. That's where I really learned how to read music, how to write music, playing all type of percussion instruments like the timpani, the triangle, like all type of symphony music. And then from there, big band stuff, jazz stuff. And I really want to just play music for the rest of my life. I just knew I wanted to do music. That's all I want to do. So from there, I ended up going to Berklee College of Music, you know, where I studied drums and percussion and music production. And that's where I kind of, in high school, I started doing production a lot more when I learned from my dad. So that all kind of tied in, and, you know, I started probably rapping, though, as an artist. I made my first record, 2007. I made my first record. And then from there, we here, you know, all this time in. So that's pretty much my musical journey.
What a fucking origin story, man. I feel like I just watched the synopsis in real life. So, what was it like growing up from where you're from? Like, everyone's environment impacts them differently.
Yeah.
It could be socially and their personalities forever changed. It can be mentality making them tough and resilient to outside circumstances.
Yeah.
Or it can result from household principles, morals, and ethics, because you end up becoming who you were raised to be in that house. So
right.
What was it like?
It was dope, man. I mean, you know, I didn't get to grow with my mom and my dad in the same household, but I was fortunate to have both of my parents in my life. You know, and I had my stepfather there at my mom's crib. So, you know, I was fortunate. I was a fortunate kid. You know, I used to want to be a gangbanger because I just felt like that was the cool thing to be in as a kid, not really realizing how their lives end up playing out in the long run. So I was very fortunate for how I grew up. But, you know, I grew up in Phil's Corner, Dorchester area, and Mattapan. So I was both places at the same time because I was going from my mom's house to my pop's crib. So, you know, growing up in a Christian household and going to my pop's crib, it was all rap. It was like the Chuck E. Cheese every other weekend, you feel me? So I got to get exposed to 2 different sides of the spectrum of music-wise. But, like, growing up was dope. I mean, you know, still being in a Christian household and still living in the hood is, you know what I'm saying, it's still, you know, you gotta still watch your back. You still gotta, you know, be street smart. You gotta know what the hell's going on. And so when I was growing up, you know, you just gotta watch where you're going. I'm saying look both ways. I'm saying look around. You know, at 16 I got robbed, so you know that changed a lot of shit. You know, I got robbed. I even said in my new album too, cause I got robbed by somebody that I actually knew. I used to play ball with. I didn't know him like that, but
you felt as though it should have been a certain level of respect.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Because we used to play ball, so I was like, but he didn't do it. It was one of his mans, but he was still there. So, you know, you still, you know what I'm saying? You know what's the vibe. So, you know, that kind of like, all right, cool, I got to move a little bit different. So, but, you know, that's just how it was in, you know, in Phil's Corner and Mattapan and shit. So it was one of those things. But for the most part, though, bro, I grew up really good. You know, I was very fortunate and more fortunate than I used to see my surroundings and to see how my friends would play out and how much they would, you know, didn't have as much as I did. So I was very fortunate.
It takes a lot of courage because, you know, I think that some people enjoy the victim mentality because it saves them from accountability that they continuously run away from. Even though you saw things, even though you were robbed at 16, something that could have been so traumatizing to a person, it forever fucks up their personality, their hustle, their drive. You know, man. And they turn into something else and sacrifice their life. It takes courage to say that. So that was some real shit.
I got a praying mother, man. So, you know,
you got spirit guides protecting you. I got a grandma praying for me every day in New York.
That's dope, man.
So how does your music alter your life? And why I say alter is because music is a drug. It's a medicine that can alter your experience with it based on how you're feeling towards it.
Yeah, my music is more my escape, you know, from a lot of shit, you know, from work, from real life, from relationships, you know, it's just my big escape that I can just focus and hone in on just creating, and that's the space that I always like to be in. Just even with this project in itself, it's been a year since I've been working on it, and, you know, it turned into something completely different than what it began as. But that's just because I was just playing around with different things and wanted to be better as a musician and as an artist myself. So my music really just like, for me, I like to listen to music that makes me think. That puts me into like a certain vibe.
A trance.
Yeah, you ever listen to a song, it might be like 2-3 years old, and you know exactly how you heard that song for the first time or where you was. Like that's the type of music I like to make. I like to just like, oh shit, I remember when I first heard this record. Yeah, like I remember when I first heard this song, where I was, and just puts me back in that moment. So that's what my music does for me.
That what you just described is a portal. Yeah. You ever seen that Hogwarts Harry Potter movie, right? When they're gonna use a portal key to travel somewhere else in the wizard world. Yeah. Something opens up, they step through, and they're in another place. Yeah. Yeah, so that's exactly what the music is for me. That's a portal, bro. Yeah. It's a whole nother space. So what does your discography look like? What can people expect from Triy?
My discography, I mean, I got a lot of music, man. But I just began to be more consistent about putting out full bodies of work. So like, shit, you know, although I started back in 2007, and I had a whole crew of people that I worked with, and just went through a whole bunch of different people in terms of like different artists that I was working with. But like I really took it serious back in like 2015. So a lot of my music that you might have heard of from a long time ago was like around that era, like the 2015 to 2017 era. And now like this is probably I dropped the EP in 2017, another EP in 2018, but then it took me another 2 years just to drop a full body of work. And then it took me another like year and a half to 2 years to drop another body of work. So, you know, I'm going to be more consistent about dropping out bodies of work. But, I mean, I got tons of music out there. I got music with other artists and stuff like that. So, yeah, tap in.
Tap in. Y'all heard the man. Tap in. So, what do you want your audience to receive from Triy? What this should, like, what are they leaving with when you give them your music, a piece of yourself?
It's a good question. I think for the most part, they're leaving with someone that they can relate to. You know, I try to, in my music, you know, put out relatable music so in situations when they can listen to, like, a lot of like relationship shit. A lot of like, hurting things, or even discussing about, things with my children, with their moms, just different things. So anytime they listen to my music, they know they're gonna hear a few songs that can put them in like, oh shit, like, I felt the same way. Like, damn, I was going through that same thing. You know what I'm saying? I was going through the same issue. And I see how Triy just like kept on pushing and kept on going. I'm gonna keep on doing the same thing. That's the main thing I want people to leave with when they hear my music. Like, obviously, there's songs that people gonna have fun with and they just can turn them to and have fun. But there's awesome music on there that's like, oh shit, he's saying something. For this particular project, I felt like every time I kept running to somebody, they was like, yo, bro, you still doing music? It was like, yo, I need that new shit, bro. I need some new shit. I'm like, bro, I've been dropping every single year since 2015. So it's like, did you forget? And that's what the project's called. And that's why I called it Did You Forget? Because I felt like every party I was running into, they kept on like, yo, I need new music, bro. When's the new music coming up, bro? I see you just drop a couple weeks ago. Like, it's like they want more. So I'm like, damn, you didn't forget, bro? I just dropped arguably one of the dopest videos of the, you know what I'm saying, of the year. This project in particular was more of a prove it type of project. It was to prove it to myself that I can make a dope project. It was to prove it to other people that like I really do this shit. So, but in all of that, still they can leave with something that they can really like enjoy and love, and to kind of leave with like, okay, like I can relate to this situation. So,
respect.
Yeah.
So, what's your process of creating? Because everyone has to get into their mode a different way. You know how to tap into the zone the way you need to. And what's the thing that stuck with you the most after learning your own respective creative process?
Yeah, I think for me, I was blessed to receive a grant last year from the Boston Foundation to be able to help me with this project and to actually purchase some studio equipment. So I was able to purchase like some studio equipment and stuff, so I can really like laser focus on some production. Try to get back in my production bag, because I hadn't produced on a project. I don't think I've produced on any project that I've had thus far until this right now. The first thing that I did do, and that I usually do, is I go away. I'll fly somewhere just to get some motivation going. So last year I took a trip to LA, and I met up with my producer Jay the Great, and I didn't even need to record nothing. I just wanted to listen. I just wanted to be a fly on the wall. I was in there for hours, bro, talking, listening to music, listening to beats, just hearing what he got going on, going out to different clubs and different brunches and different events. Like, those kind of things make me, okay, when I get back to the city, now I can laser focus in on like, all right, cool, like I got the motivation that I needed. Now I can keep on going. So my process is a little, I wouldn't say it's different, because I think a lot of people usually like try to like escape some other shit outside of doing it through music. So I needed to escape to get some motivation. I'm good at motivating myself, but I like to go to other places and see other things. If you listen to anybody's music now, like the top artists, they're always talking about some shit that you don't even fucking know what they're talking about. You know what I'm saying? Which makes them a great artist, because they know what's going on. They could, you know what I'm saying? And that's how usually, if you ever hear, like years ago, I mean, Versace's always been around, right? They've been around for years, but when Versace came up when Migos came up with Versace, put Versace even on the, you know what I'm saying? So when, you're hearing all these different things, and you get this different type of motivation when you kind of see the things that you want to see, or going away to fucking Belize or different areas. You gotta, you come back with a different
become
mindset.
A worldly person.
Yeah, exactly. There's more in this world than where you come from. You know what I'm saying? So, this particular time I went to LA, and I kind of got that vibe from there. And the first single was done in LA. It's called Need to Know, which is the video that I'm shooting right now. So, so that's basically
you putting in work.
No pun intended, right?
So, what do you wish you would have known when you first started? Like, yo, Triy, look, this is what you need to know. Get this shit right before you step into anything. Watch out for this. Don't fuck with this type of person. Get in these rooms. Say this.
Yeah. I think for me, I probably would have told myself to network a lot more.
And why is that so important?
It's important, man, because you don't never know. You know what I'm saying? You never know who you're going to need. You never know who this person is. You never know when you build that relationship with that person, where that relationship can even go. You know, and I learned that over the years after when I left from Berkeley. I couldn't tell you, I could sit here for hours and tell you who I know in the music industry right now just based off of college. That, you know I know of them, but I didn't make that relationship with them. I didn't network with them at those times. You know, I was very to myself and to my own team. You know, I was very like closed off to anybody new. So that's one thing I would tell myself and tell even other artists, like, yo, it's a real thing to network. You know, the first thing I came here, everybody, yo, take my IG. You know what I'm saying? I produce, I do different things. Like that's the what it is. And you know, I can communicate very well with people, but like I am shy at the same time. So back then I was even more shy. And you know, I was a part of a team where, you know, there was one person that was like really above me in terms of like where they was in their music career. And you know, I was in the background a lot. So, you know, if he wasn't putting in the work for me, I wouldn't put in the work for myself. You know what I'm saying?
So you're relying on something else to motivate you.
Yeah, so it's like, you know, I'll be in a room full of like, you know, we'll go to a club and I'll be right there and the DJ's playing his record. You know what I'm saying? I'm waiting for this man to put me on instead of putting myself on. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, my name's Triy, like, yada, yada, you know what I'm saying? Yo, let me get your email. Let me do this, that. You know what I'm saying? And not realizing that he ain't doing that because he waiting for me to do it myself. So I think networking is really key because you don't know, bro. You never know. So now, as I'm older now, that's all I do. You know what I'm saying? I try to be out as much as possible. I try to pay attention to every single thing. I know every artist that's popping right now in the city or that's getting there. You know what I'm saying? The first thing I mentioned to Rob when I got in here was like, oh, I see Key right there. She's popping. You know what I'm saying? I keep my eyes to the streets and everything that's going on to the city. So I think that's key in terms of like what I would have told myself. And to keep on going, bro. Like, don't, you know, I was a young nigga trying to like, you know, I was big on teams, on a big group aspect. So, you know, back in like 2010, I had my record label called Triy Records. We started back in 2007, and we probably restarted back in probably 2011, 2012. But you know, back then it was like a lot of people were, I wouldn't say hating, but like they didn't understand. You know, if I'm the person that's going to get us all out of here, like, let me lead this ship. You know what I'm saying? And so there's a lot of people that didn't understand that. And I was so strung on, like, trying to pull everybody with me instead of just letting them all go. So that's another thing I probably would have told myself, but you live and you learn.
Yeah, that sounds like some good advice, nigga.
Yeah.
Younger self would have been like, good looks.
Yeah, younger self like,
avoided all the mistakes.
Yeah, like, all right, bet. Appreciate
I'm
that.
keep it pushing. You feel me? So how does your personal life and your creative process interfere? You know, like what's that point where they make that X and they meet in the middle, and it's like, okay, now my two aspects of my lives are meshed.
Yeah, it's a good question. It's a lot of sacrifice. You know what I'm saying? You got to do a lot of sacrificing, and that's what I found myself doing a lot of. Just sacrifice, bro. You know, I got 2 kids, 2 beautiful children, so, you know, I make sure that I spend as much time as I can with them, but also, like, daddy got something to do. You know what I'm saying? I got a goal, and my goal is to, you know, be the biggest artist that I can be the best business person I can be, entrepreneur, all that stuff. So in order to get these things situated, I gotta do this. So if it's any relationships or anything that I'm in or dating or whatever it could be, or like they gotta know, like,
this is your priority.
This is the priority right here. Like, this is what I do. This is what I'm. And this is not something that, you know, I make it known to anybody I deal with, or even to my children, or whatever, their moms or whatever. Like, this is not something that I just seen that everybody else is doing, so I want to do. This was a calling. You know what I'm saying? This is something that I've been doing since the age of 3 years old. Just making music. You know what I'm saying? Not even just as an artist, just creating music. So, yeah, that's how. And I mean, sometimes it gets in the way of things. You know, sometimes it slows me down. You know, or I have like writer's block because I'm going through so much shit at home, or gotta pay rent. You know what I'm saying? Gotta pay bills, gotta do X, Y, and Z. You know, I'm a regular person at the end of the day too, so you know, certain things gotta be done, but at the same time, I don't let that shit stop me. I gotta keep going.
You gotta keep it pushing, bro.
So I don't allow it to affect me to the point where I'm like, I might say, and I feel like every artist gets to a point where like, I'm about to quit. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? This is it. Yeah. I'm done after this. Yeah. I ain't rapping.
This the last one.
Yeah, this the last project I'm putting. Now I can't do this shit no more. Blah blah blah. Like every artist goes through that, bro. Because we, at the end of the day, we want this shit so bad, and sometimes things might not be going our way. Real life might hit. Real shit might hit. But at the end of the day, we wake up the next day like, nigga, I can't quit. Mm-hmm. I done came too far to stop right now. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
That's the magic sentence.
Yeah, bro. I done sacrificed way too much. I done put way too much bread in. I can't stop. So keep going.
I don't like to ask this question, where do you see yourself in 5 years? I like to twist it a little bit, and I say, what do you see yourself becoming in the next 5 years? If you could simplify it.
A mogul, man. That's the goal. Putting myself in position right now to become that. That's where I see myself. That's where I want to be. That's where I'm going to be. You know what I'm saying? I'm big. I know a lot of people are big on manifestation, and I respect that. You know, to a certain degree, I understand, and I am too, but I'm big on prayer. So, you know, prayer changes things, and that's what I firmly believe in. So, you know, I try to pray on certain things to come to fruition. You feel me? But to be a mogul, man, to own my own record label, to be in real estate, to be the biggest artist, not in the city, in the world. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of times, especially in this city, you get so wrapped up on being the biggest in your town.
Being you get close-minded.
Get too close-minded, man, and that's not, you know. Another thing I would have told myself is not to. I used to be so focused on being the biggest artist of the city, being the biggest artist of that artist that was the biggest at the time in the city. I want to be bigger than him. And I was like, nah, I'm not competing with him. I'm competing with Drake. I'm competing with Meek. I'm competing with the high levels. You know what I'm saying? So if I'm worried about, you know, all the other artists from the city, and I'm worried about I want to be bigger than that person, you thinking too small. You know what I'm saying? You think it's small. Like that don't make no sense for you to want to be bigger, be the best in your city. Like, okay, that's cool. Then what? You know what I'm saying?
Because there's always another goal.
There's always another. Okay, now you the biggest in the city. Now what? Let's be the biggest in the world.
Let's be the biggest. This is a big thinker in front of me.
Yeah.
So, what do you imagine the state of the New England scene in 5 years? Are they gonna break into the industry?
It's getting there. It's getting there. I mean, you know, I've been fortunate to be doing this, like I said, since 2007. So I've seen this city go through its waves. I've seen it go through a lot of big artists at those times, and then it fades out. I think right now we've hit like a good stride right now where all the artists are in positions to become something bigger. And there's so much more networks out there. There's so much, even in the city now, there's so many people that are wanting to do things, make moves, podcasts. I mean, put in work. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, there's so many, you know what I'm saying? There's so many new platforms and different things to keep spreading our word out. I think in the next 5 years, I think we're going to be one of those states that's going to be really like, oh shit, they really got it. You know what I'm saying? And this city's always been flooded with great talent, great musicians, great everything. Not even just the city, just the state itself. And I think for the state, I think that's what we're looking at. I think in the next 5 years, statewide, this shit. Because you got niggas out in Brockton killing shit. You know what I'm saying? You got
Van Buren Records with Pusha T. They did some. That's crazy.
That House of Blues.
That's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? You got Bia killing shit. You know what I'm saying? You got Jordan killing shit. You got Millie's killing shit.
No,
you know
he's definitely,
you know what I'm saying? Rosewood's out here killing shit.
Rosewood Babe used to be my shit, nigga. Yeah. Oh my goodness, bro.
He's on the back end with the writing shit. You know what I'm saying? So like, Stiz is still out there killing shit, doing his thing. I mean, the scene's already there. You know what I'm saying? But like, I think when people say about the music scene in the state, I think they look at it as like a bigger thing. Like they're looking at that, like, okay, who's gonna be the Jay-Z? Who's gonna be the Kanye, the Drake? Who's gonna be that?
Because we have such big expectations.
Exactly. So, I mean, we still knocking down the doors right now, and I think the next 5 years, them shits is already gonna be shattered, and it's just gonna be a matter of time when all these artists just come out and just follow up. So, we in good shape right now. It's better than I've seen it. I mean, I think like 2011, 2012, it was like, I call it like the Renaissance time, because you had, rest in peace to my guy Replay, man. I mean, you know, had him doing his thing. Stiz was coming up. You had Michael Christmas. You had like all these guys, and I was watching from afar. You know what I'm saying? Just seeing how these niggas was moving. You had G.O.D. from the Chef Boys. I mean, it was just a time, bro. So I seen it there. Then I seen when I was really popping, like in 2015, 2017, 2018. That time was just a time. From there to now, I mean, that's 10 years. You feel me? So we've come a long way. So it's definitely gonna get there.
I couldn't have said it any better than myself.
Yeah.
Shit. Somebody asked me that question. I mean, I hope we break it to the industry. I'm not even seeing the components, the factors going into it.
Yeah.
And so my last question for you would be, you know, what is your guiding force? Because it could be spiritual, mental, or physical. What is your guiding force in your quest for greatness?
I mean, now, bro, it's to leave a legacy. It's for my kids. You know, I'm a very emotional person, especially when it comes to my children. So I just want to continue to leave a legacy for them. And that's really much it, bro, to be real with you. Like, I just see this shit. Like, I just look at things very different. Then I don't know if somebody thinks about this the same way that I do, or like, but for me, I just want to leave a legacy, bro. I want to make sure that my kids are straight. Generational wealth is the thing for me. So I'm very big on those things. I want my children to understand how hard their father worked for them. You know what I mean? So that's what it is.
Respect, as any man should. I want to say thank you, Triy, for coming through.
Yeah.
And you really did put in work today, because sharing the story and being vulnerable with experiences isn't easy.
Yeah.
Especially what you just did there was a performance. You know what I mean? And you weren't being fake. You were being authentic, yet you just knew how to navigate. So if you can do this in a space like this, like, you know, continue to do it in all areas of life.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you guys for having me, man. For
most
real.
Definitely.
I love what y'all are doing over here, bro. Keep up the good work.
You feel me? I feel like I got to know you better in this interview, and if I got to know your audience, definitely got some insight onto you. So,
my God,
Thanks for pulling up to PUTINWORK TV.
Appreciate you.
You got any last words you want to say to the peoples?
Yo, tap in to Triy, man. Go on itstriy.com. You can get all y'all updates on there, all the streaming platforms, everything you can get right there. Follow me at Triy. That's ITSTRIY. Triy Records, coming.
Yeah, y'all heard that, man. Y'all better go listen. You know what I mean?